Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. My name is Crypto J, also known as Jamaal Solomon, and you looking at the 36 chambers of crypto taxes. Listen, guys, the IRS is coming. The IRS is coming. I am here to save you. I am not here to give you the latest and greatest crypto investment tips because that is not me. I'm a tax accountant. I represented over 200 people with IRS and state tax issues. I know what I'm talking about. You guys have to listen. I'm not here to save your dream. I am here to save your crypto assets from going to the government or you being forced because now you have to pay them back and you did not know your options. Your options is everything when it comes to taxes and especially with the crypto taxes because the IRS is coming. They know that they're losing billions of dollars because the people are not reporting taxable transactions. Some is it our fault, some is the IRS fault because they're not so clear on it and they're not doing the greatest job of educating. But that is not an excuse, guys. Trust me, that is not an excuse, and they only gonna get more aggressive. So listen, guys, this is what we're gonna do. I'm gonna do a lot of more videos, but this particular series is all gonna be about knowing your Bill of Rights, right? It's all about best protect your crypto assets because you know I'm a Wu-Tang fan, so I like to make a lot of Wu references and using the IRS taxpayer Bill of Rights to help you survive a crypto tax audit. If you never heard of this Bill of Rights that they have, don't feel bad because if you probably ask 90% of taxpayers in the United States that this exists, they probably like, what? I didn't know. I just thought I'm supposed to just pay my taxes. But with everything in life, you do have risk, rights. And with everything with life, if you don't know your rights, you're gonna get abused. We don't want that. If you're a crypto millionaire, if you got $100 in crypto and you feel like that's what you want to do, more power to you. That is not what this video is about. However, if you're one of those people that either A, you want to be proactive and know how to protect yourself and know what to do with crypto taxes. This is it. And B, if you got that infamous letter that might come because you know you didn't report it, you need to know your rights and how to fight that because it could mean the difference of whether or not you be able to keep your crypto assets. Now, the government, yeah, they could confiscate it, but it'd probably be hard, but they could put enough pressure on you to say, you know what, you need to sell some of these crypto assets to pay your bills. I've seen it happen, not when it comes to crypto, but when it comes to other tax problems, like for example purposes, if they know that you have a lot of home equity in your home, they say, hey, by the way, you owe us 50,000, but you got 100,000 in your home equity loan. Take out a loan and ask your bank. And there's certain ways to protect it, but this is not what this video is about because it will make your head swirl. So we're gonna stick to your taxpayer bill of rights. If this is like your third video, you know I always explain this. It happened in 2014 and it applies to all taxpayers in their dealings with the IRS. Don't go to New York or Wyoming or Texas talking about the IRS Bill of Rights because they're not going to care about it. However, each state probably does have a Bill of Rights, but and it's probably similar. I'm like how off can it be? But know that it does exist, guys, and it's basically for the protection of the government and yourself. So you have to know it and make sure if you have a tax representative that's representing you, hopefully they know that this exists and they take full advantage of it. Because if your tax accountant don't know, and trust me, don't assume, don't assume that every tax accountant, just because you gave them money, just because they got a fancy CPA thing behind their name, know that this exists before you get to somebody, you better make sure that person knows this and don't assume. Because if you assume, whoo, that could be a costly mistake. Trust me, I've seen it happen many times. I could go on for stories how people trusted a tax accountant way too much. The tax accountant took the money from them and didn't have the slightest clue what they was doing. And just because you're a CPA doesn't mean you know a lot about representing people in taxes. Trust me on that. Don't call me a hater. Just trust me. So we have these 10 taxpayer bill of rights. I am not gonna go over all 10 in this video because you'd be like, Jamaal, why do you do this? You're hazing me. This is just too much. So for each video, please subscribe to the channel. I will do a short video on each of these rights. And today we're talking about the right to pay no more than the correct tax amount. You may say, oh, Jamaal, this sounds so general, like, duh. You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. Taxpayers have the right to pay only the amount of tax legally due and to have the IRS apply all payments properly. Now, I never been in a situation that the IRS tried to get you to pay more, but there've been situations that certain tax payments been not properly applied to the right area, stuff like that, and that's where it get dicey and stuff like that. So I never been in a situation that the IRS is just trying to get you to pay more. Is either they say, hey, you owe this. If you can't prove it, then they're gonna stick with it, right? It's a difference of you proving it and you have all the documents, and they're like, nah, we still don't believe you, right? And I'm gonna say this in every video because I love IRS agents. I'm not gonna lie, they are great people. Um, the media and the world makes them to be the bad guys, but they are regular people just like me and you, government employees, middle class, who just so happens to have a crazy job to collect the country's taxes. So automatically you just hate them, but they're not bad people. So if you treat them with respect, if you have somebody informed, that's the best person. But like I'm saying in every video, if you're an emotional person and you're gonna blame everybody except yourself for your tax problems, please hire someone like myself to represent you. It is not worth it. The worst thing you could do, because just imagine these people deals with thousands of calls each month of people that says bad mouthing them and all that other stuff. You could be that shining star to say, hey guy, I'm just trying to resolve this. Let's make this happen. And they're gonna make it, they're gonna be extra nice to you. I promise you, niceness works. Now they're not gonna, do some illegal stuff and chop out all your taxes, but they could save you a lot of money if they like you and you're not disrespectful. Trust me. Um, if the IRS is proposing to adjust the amount of taxes you owe, they will typically send us a notice of deficiency, which informs you of the proposed change. So they're never going to just automatically just tell you, hey, you owe us 50K. They got to really explain it. And I talked about that in another video, and that's the common thing. And you have the right to even challenge. You could challenge anything these letters say. Do know you could challenge it, especially let's say they say you sold 100K and you owe 100K of crypto taxes, but they didn't probably take into account how much money you paid in fees, how much you brought it for, if you already included it on prior year tax returns. It's a whole bunch of that stuff. So most likely you may have to just amend your tax returns and say, hey, listen, I disagree with it. Here's my amended tax return. And if they say, oh, no, we don't believe you, and you have all the proof, you could take it to tax court. Now, tax court is a whole other monster. I'm not going to get into that. Tax court is real, but do know that you have a lot of options, right? And like I said, I dealt with a lot of cases, and it never got to the point to tax court. Um, Tax court, you have to have a specialized license. It's a whole petition. It's interesting, right? It's very interesting, but you do have those options. And some of y'all, especially if you're crypto millionaires or zillion or thousandaires, that's not even a word. Yeah, may need to think about that because what if the IRS truly don't understand when they start giving out all these audit letters what you did with your crypto? You might have to take it to a higher court because the auditor might just not understand it. But you have to know that you have those options and you have to know the deadlines that's in it. You see the 90 within 90 days, they're serious with that. If you're a day off, it's a wrap for you. So you have to deal with a tax representative that know and appreciates these deadlines because they don't play around with missed deadlines. If you're an individual who is eligible for the low income taxpayer clinic, you can qualify. So listen, I'm going to say this in most of my videos. Getting proper help is no excuse. It's no excuse because you don't have money. There are clinics that will represent you if you want more personalized representation. There's people like myself. I'm not the most expensive guy, but I'm not doing it for free. I can guarantee you that. And then you got the tax lawyers and the tax firms and those big guys. That's gonna cost $1 billion, but do know what type of situation you're in. Um, don't go to a tax attorney for something very small. That's dumb. But go to a lawyer if they're talking about fraud. The moment the IRS, please remember this, if the IRS ever mentions fraud, forget going to a CPA, forget going to an enroll agent, which is me. You better find yourself a tax lawyer ASAP because they don't throw out that word a lot. The only time, like I said, I dealt with over 200 cases. The only time that they threw out the word, I'm just saying the word fraud, was one time with me. And the moment that agent said that, I told my I told my client it is about to get real. You better get into a resolution ASAP. And he got into it. And because I said you don't want them to take it further. And it wasn't fraud. It could look like it, but it was honestly wasn't fraud. But all they have to do is just mention that word and refer you to another officer, IRS officer. That's all it takes. You don't want that smoke. Do not be hard-headed and want the smoke and challenge an agent that's saying, I think you're doing fraud. You don't want that. If you don't believe me, just Google what happens to people when the IRS gets them for fraud. It's not worth it. It is not worth it. Oh my God, it's not worth it. If you believe you have overpaid your taxes, you can file a refund claim, ask for the money back within certain time limits. I'm not going to go over the time limits, but listen, do know, have a representative that understand the time limits. Get the transcripts. You can get copies of transcripts. It's all there. It will tell you the date. Don't be scared to ask the agent, hey, what are my deadlines? Where am I at in the process? How many years do you have to collect? They have this information. They're supposed to tell it to you. Do not be scared to ask. Don't think that you're going to get them mad by asking. They will find the information for you. And it's super important because always remember, it's nothing but deadlines. If you miss a deadline, especially to amend something or to go to tax court or seek an appeal, they not gonna forgive you unless it was absolutely their fault. And what I mean by their fault, I mean like sometimes, man, you be talking to these agents and they disappear on you because they would never tell you when they go on vacation. But sometimes you call them and you can't get back to them, and it's like crazy. I'm like, I've been trying to contact you for 2 weeks, a month, and you haven't contacted me. So keep records of any time you call them. Um, Keep those records. It will save you. It will save you. If someone is not reporting to you, and you always have the option of talking to their supervisor, don't be scared to leave a message on the supervisor because most times they will say, "Hey, if I'm not available, you can talk to my supervisor at blah 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 blah," blah, and they give you their number. You may request that any amount owed may be removed if it extends the correct amount due under the law if the IRS has assessed it after the period allowed by law. This is why it's very important to know those dates, know the assessment date, know the dates that they have to collect and stuff like that. There's a lot of dates. And sometimes when you do a certain tactic, sometimes it suspends it, right? So let's say they had 10 years on you, but you did a certain technique that kind of froze the 10 years. Now you think, oh, I'm at year 11, but they still got 2 more years on you because you did something um, that kind of suspended the time. Very important. It's not a game, guys. You may request that the IRS remove any interest from your account that was caused by the IRS unreasonable errors or delay. We're not talking about one day. We're not talking about 2 days. We're not even talking about 2 weeks, guys. We're talking about like those cases, like I said, you're calling the IRS back and forth, and the person is not getting back to you because it does happen sometimes, right? And if you only have one left and you know, you're at that deadline time, it does matter. But you better be able to prove it. It can't be no he said, she said stuff. You better have a log of when you call them. Maybe you want to save your phone record so you could prove to them and highlight the times that you called them. Remember, they got people lying to them every single minute. So if you honestly believe that you've been calling this person, have your cell phone records, highlight that bad boy and say, hey, listen. And when you respond to them, this is all the times I called him and he never got back to me, or she, because there's a lot of female auditors too. Do it like that. And if you mail the person and they get back to you, certified mail, guys. Don't ever do regular mail. Certified mail. Certified. Don't be cheap because it's extra $5 in dollars. Certified mail that bad boy. If you have a legitimate doubt that you owe part of all the tax debt, you can submit a settlement offer, offering compromise. Yo, these big companies, sometimes they sell you a dream, guys. I work for one of those big companies. They were selling you guys some dreams. Offering compromise are very hard to get. Very, very hard to get, but you have many other options. You have a regular installment agreement plan. You have a partial payment plan, installment agreement plan. You have currently not collectible status, but those are not sexy and they won't get you to the door. So what these big companies do, they say, hey, let's do an offer and compromise. But man, offer and compromises are so hard to get. Not only do you have to be currently broke, you have to be your future income prospects have to be low. So if you're in your 30s and 40s, they're gonna be like, oh, you can make money. You're still young. Come on. They take all that. They take your health into account. The only time that I got pennies on a dollar, this guy, one of my clients, he won the lottery. Life happens. His ex-wife took all the money, took the house, took everything, took the car. He has heart problems, and the only reason why the IRS reduced his debt from 100,000 to 1,000 because I had to show them that A, he has no property, and B, his father died with the same symptoms that he had at the same age because he had like 3 heart surgeries. And that's the only reason why they did it. And the only reason why they didn't completely eliminate it because he had this old hoopty car and it was worth $1,000. So it was like, oh, he has $1,000 to give. That's how crazy offering compromises are. It's just not, oh, I lost my job and I can't pay you now. It is not that simple. So if you have all this cryptocurrency that you never sold, you think they're gonna give you an offer and compromise when you have 200K worth of crypto assets? No, they're gonna tell you reject it, go sell those crypto assets and pay us. And you know what's gonna happen when you sell those crypto assets? Oh shoot, that's a taxable transaction. So now you gotta pay money on those crypto transactions you did to pay your tax bill. Hence why, sorry I got so passionate. Hence why you need a representative to go over your options. Please, if you're really trying to save your crypto assets, do not do this alone. I'm not trying to sell you a dream. I'm trying to save you from yourself. Don't do it. Don't do it. And with the big box taxpayer representative things, like those guys that's on the first page of Google One, go look for a local tax accountant or a representative. You don't need to go to the big guys because what the big guys do, since they're so big, they just outsource it to people like myself. When I was working with them, that's what they did. You know, the company was in down south. I live in New York. They get clients all over the country. They just farm it to the little guy. So don't disrespect the little guy because, oh my God, you don't have a fancy, you're not on Google first page. We do the work. You will receive an annual notice from the IRS stating the amount due, which will help you check all your payments made. So your installment agreement plan, always do know that the IRS will send you a payment, and this will help you because you may say, you know what, I'll I want to just pay this bad boy off. This is all I got left. I made all these payments, and then you see all the interest that you're paying on it. You might think differently and say, you know what, maybe I might sell some of my crypto and just knock out this bill because it will save me more money overall. If you enter a payment plan known as an installment agreement plan, the IRS must send you an annual statement, how much you owe at the beginning of the year, how much you pay during the year, and how much you still owe at the end of the year. This is very helpful, like I said, because like I said, if you have a lot of crypto assets, it may make sense to kind of use it to pay this bill because having this tax liens on you and they can't levy. If you're in a installment agreement plan, you protected from levies, but you do have a lien. Um, it's not fun, guys, and the interest is gonna kill you. So listen, hopefully this is helpful. Like I said, guys, there are 10 Bill of Rights, and you do not want me to go over all 10 of them in one video. So I'm gonna knock them out one by one. But subscribe to this channel. I'm gonna post these things on my podcast, my website, IG. You know how to find me. My contact information could be found in my website. I do this for clients. I represent people. I could do tax returns, amendments. I could help you. I'm your guy. Um, don't be scared because I always wear the blockchain for the people shirt. That's basically, I feel like blockchain should be open for everyone, just not one particular gender or one particular race or anything like that. It should be open to the world. So that's why I like to really make a point of wearing this shirt all the time. All right, guys, you have a great day and look out for the videos. Peace. Peace again.